Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
PD Beats here from Popternative, speaking to Sam Page about Brazen, which is premiering worldwide on Netflix January 13th. Welcome to the show. It's so good to see you.
Thank you. Thanks, Pete. Thanks for having me.
It's exciting. I mean, I love the whodunit, the crime, the mystery, and everything. What's it like working on a project like that compared to watching it, Sam?
It's a lot of fun because, first of all, they're fun because the sets are always pretty laid back and fun, and then you get actually on set, camera rolling, you got to be all serious.
Yeah,
it's easy. But because it's police work, it's a fun story to follow, fun narrative, so it's easy to snap into.
Absolutely.
And then like you go out and you go to dinner with the cast or whoever, and you realize I'm sitting next to somebody who has it in them to portray a serial killer.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird.
It is pretty crazy too. And the film moves very fast. There's a lot kind of going on. I'm curious, when you were reading the script for this, did you instantly know what you were getting into in terms of the pace and everything kind of happening? It's a packed film. Like, there's a lot happening.
Yeah. Yep, there's a lot in there. It moves really fast. I talked to Monika Mitchell a lot beforehand when it was getting into the casting arena, and she told me about the project. She'd been developing it for a while, and she told me that, with the pace of the movie and how it was going to be and how she wanted to direct it, very stylized, which I thought she did an incredible job. She's an amazing director. I knew that it would be a really slick, cool movie with a really kind of interesting, cool feel to it, like a cool coloring, like a kind of the bluish tints were all there, which kind of sets a really creepy tone. That with the score, combined with the score and the great camera work, I thought we really nailed it.
It's so great you said that, because that was one of my questions. If anyone that sees the trailer for this and watches the film, because it's premiere worldwide on Netflix January 13th, and everyone's going to be able to check it out, it's interesting, Sam, because in my opinion, I don't know if you agree with me, this is a genre-bending film. Like, there is a lot of stuff happening in this film. Like, they say, crime and mystery, but you mentioned the creepy component. There is a lot happening. What do you think about genre-bending films? Do you agree with me a little bit? Like, this has a lot of stuff happening in it.
Yeah, it does. I love genre bending films. Actually, I love when films are capable of successfully. Not everybody is successfully, but successfully blending genres.
Yes,
because that, I think the audience doesn't see that coming. It really, 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 that's a tough thing to see coming, because it's just very unpredictable.
Yeah,
and I think we set that up really well, and will surprise the audience as the narrative unfolds.
People are going to see that yourself and Malachi. You guys have so much chemistry together. It's such a great duo. What was it like working with him on this? It's great to see on screen, man.
It's so much fun. Malachi and I had a blast working together, and we were encouraged from the beginning by Monika to really just come up with our own stuff, like create a relationship, and if it needed to be cut, if it was too much or went too far, or it was just too extraneous, then she'd cut around it, but she wanted the feel to be there. And we ended up keeping a lot of the stuff because we just had a great time, and we're still really good friends. We talk once a week probably. Since then, we didn't know each other. We'd never met before. And we had the best time. And it was always constantly, every scene we were walking in, he'd be saying, okay, so I'm gonna probably try something right here, and so just give me a little room to squeeze something in, and then maybe we'll go down a little side road on the scene, or back and forth, and there's one scene where I think we took the stairs instead of the elevator, and we were every take we get something new.
Yeah.
I don't remember which one we actually used, but we were like, we were gonna go to. It was like a morning scene, so we're like, oh, well, let's talk about lunch, and now we can get guacamole on the nachos, and now we can get the nachos. Like we just kept like building off of all the stuff, and we wanted it to feel like
authentic.
We were really close, and because I think it's important to create tight relationships with the characters, because then it feels like you can lose something really important to you.
Mm-hmm.
All the characters can lose something really important, and in a movie where the tone is right, if you're really getting it right, anybody can disappear at any time. Everybody's in danger.
Yeah.
And the tighter the relationships are, the more heightened that sense of loss will be.
Absolutely. I feel like the film, Alyssa Milano does an amazing job as well. There is a lot of moments where, it's a whodunit, so the mystery's there, but there's like moments, and some characters say things to certain characters where you're like, you have to really be dialed in. It's like, wait a second, why is this happening? Why is he acting this way? It's so true like that. So what was it like kind of going page by page and kind of seeing all these kind of interactions with the character, your character with Alyssa, you and Malachi, seeing all these interactions kind of lead the viewer to kind of be kind of suspicious a little bit to a lot of stuff, because it's not always subtle, but it's there. There's a lot of wonder there.
Sure. Well, the hallmark of any great mystery is a bunch of red herrings.
Yeah.
And there's so many characters in an investigation that you have to go through and cross them off your list. But in this movie, we keep circling back and circling, and there are points where we get really frustrated.
Yeah.
And then it's every character brings something unique to the investigation. So we all kind of have each other's backs. The characters do.
Yeah.
And so. And there's so many characters in the list of suspects that you have to visit and revisit and visit and revisit. And as new information comes, and you have to go, cross-check, people's alibis and things like that. I thought that the book did a great job of that. And I thought we were able to keep a lot of that in the script, because it's so important to keep the audience on their toes.
It's like you're a mind reader. You knew what I was going to ask. I was going to ask about the books. This is based on books, so it's an adaptation. I'm curious about your mindset when you sign on to a project that's based on very popular novels, Sam, because I find that so interesting, because because you know this, right? Like film adaptations have characters that were in the book. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they create a lot depending on the project. What was your mindset going into this film, knowing that they were very popular novels, Sam? I'm curious about that.
Well, when I first talked to Monika about the project, she told me about the book, and I did some background research in the book and saw what a monster of a book it was, and how hugely successful it was, and what a big following Nora Roberts had. So I thought, well, you're already way ahead of the game if you're doing a project with a plugged-in audience.
Yep.
And so that was exciting, but also then that puts a lot of pressure on. It's a double-edged sword, because you want to get it right. You want to, you're gonna, the people who are fans of the book are going to watch it. Mm-hmm. That. So you want to get them, you want to give them something that they'll be pleased about.
Yep.
And you want to also bring people in that are going to enjoy a movie who haven't read the book.
Yeah.
So, and ultimately, I think the goal of our movie, we kind of said this from the get-go, was to get the people who read the book, who are fans of the book, to want to see the next movie, and get the people who didn't read the book before they saw the movie to want to read the book.
It's like a tag team.
That's the perfect.
It's a tag team. Yeah, it's so true.
Exactly.
Which is so great. Sam Page is a storyteller. That's what you do, Sam. Whether people write, direct, act, that's what they do. You're a storyteller. What excites you about storytelling?
What excites me about storytelling is just, I think, taking people on a journey.
Yep.
I think that, and to be able to do it in such a way that they'll be there every step of the way with you.
Yeah.
And entertain.
Yeah,
You
it's funny. Sometimes I always feel like I always ask, that question, and sometimes I hope, sometimes I ask a question like, "What are you hoping they get out of it when they watch the movie or the TV show?" And I always get I hope they get entertained, right? But I always hope that people go beyond that because that's what it's for. But that's the obvious.
You want to give them as impactful an experience as possible. By your storytelling.
Yeah.
I could walk into the kitchen and be like, "Oh man, there's no milk. Bummer."
Yeah.
Or you could walk in the kitchen and be like, "Oh guys, everybody calm down. I got an announcement to make and nobody freak out, but it's important but here's the deal. We don't have any milk. And I really would like some milk."
Yeah.
It's the same.
But then, it's actually, no, it's fine. Florence brought in the milk just now. And then you're like, who is that person?
Yes, exactly. It's the same, start to finish, but the delivery.
Sorry, I had to. I just thought
it was a lot different.
What's it like being able to work on a lot of different types of projects, whether it's TV or film, the Bold Type, Brazen? What's it like kind of being able to dive in all these different worlds a little bit?
Well, I love it. I love working on as many different types of projects, ideally as many different genres. But really, it's getting to work with so many people.
The people, absolutely. The community.
I haven't done a Western. I'd love to do a Western. I haven't done anything in space. I'd love to do something in space. I haven't done a war film. I'd love to do a war film. But I've been extremely fortunate to have worked a lot and worked consistently. And I've gotten to work with the more projects you work on, you're going to work with more wonderful people, more talented people, and you are going to learn more. You're going to get better. You're going to get better at doing what you love doing. And you're going to, that's a cyclical thing. It doubles back on itself because then you love doing it more.
That's so true.
So for me, I always get so excited and I always tell my wife, right when I'm about to go to work, I'm like, I get to meet the crew. I get to cast tomorrow. I get to work with all these people that I'm going to get to know them. And then I'm going to know more people. So next time I go on another set, I might know some people already there. And it's just a way of starting everything out, on such a higher note when you walk onto a set and you're like, "Oh my God, how are you? What have you been up to? I haven't seen you in years. I see that you did this. I see that you did this. Tell me about that."
Does it happen sometimes where I'm sure it happens too, because you sometimes who's on the project. You're like, "Oh yeah, I've worked with that," but sometimes you don't know. You show up, you're like, "Oh my God, it's been forever." Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, especially because you don't usually get the call sheet until the night before the first day of shooting.
Which is
I always get it and just pour over it and just see if I know anybody.
Oh, it's so great, Sam. Thank you so much.
I love it when I do.
I know it's so amazing, but that's a great people love the community aspect of it, and people like you said, Malachi and yourself are very good friends now after working on Brazen, which is awesome. It's so great to see. I want to thank you so much for coming on the show and chat about Brazen. It was great chatting with you.
Thank you, Pete. Great chatting with you too.
Absolutely. January 13th. Yeah, January 13th, worldwide on Netflix. And where can people follow you on social media to keep up to date with everything? Instagram?
I'm not all that active, but Instagram, Sam Page, and on Twitter too, Sam Page.
Amazing. Sam Page. Well, this has been Popternative, youtube.com/Popternative for previous episodes. January 13th, you're going to be able to catch Sam Page in Brazen starring Alyssa Milano worldwide on Netflix. Until next time, it's Sam Page and PD Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.